Hi, I'm Amanda Agnew.
And I'm Rob Lennox.
And we're here at McConnell's of Doak, and today we're going to be talking to some local musicians.
Indeed, aye. There's some big tunes they play, and a wee of stories as well. So stick with us. We've got a pile for you. And we're here with Bud Frazer. How are you, buddy? You right?
Not too bad this morning, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Oh, well, here, we're going to get into it. Hey, so how did you get your start in music then?
Start basically listening to 8-track music. My dad's
Old shakers.
country music in the car, and then gradually I started to learn a few Johnny Cash songs. And a friend had said to me, "You got to come up and do a song called Qualaja," which is an unaccompanied song,
Right.
and more like a drumming song. And I went up to Carn Castle in Larne, a pub called the Meeting House.
Oh,
And there was a folk session going on in there, and I went in and started singing that song and started going every week, and from there I was hooked into folk music.
what sort of thing would you write about though? Like, do you write about stuff from home or like far abroad or things you've seen?
It depends where I am. I grew up in Newton Abbey, not too far from here, so we're overlooking the shipyard, we're overlooking County Down across the loch, so quite a few of my songs are about the shipyard, about tourists walking about, particularly Hazelbank area, which is down near the loch shore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm originally from Rush Park, so that was our playground when we were young. So growing up with that atmosphere, and then meeting guys through the music scene later on, telling me stories about, oh, my grandfather worked here, or my sister, and then telling me stories and then writing about their personal and actually stories about people's lives. But generally it's about places I've been, going to folk sections in Scotland and Donegal, writing songs about Donegal, but again keeping it on a story sort of basis, you know.
Well, I'm sure that part of it is bound to have a brave line of stories.
Quite a few, you know. It's great to sit and listen to someone when they're singing the stories about their own homeland and that sort of thing. And I think it's the same when people come down to some of the sessions that we would have run, and I'm singing some of the songs that refer to the actual area that we're sitting in as well. You know, it's a good crossover and a good learning experience.
Have you any musical influences, I suppose, that have shaped your sound?
None of the big names as you'd think within sort of folk music and stuff, but because I learnt from the session guys, and to me the session guys who 30-40 years experience, that's the people to listen to.
Yeah.
There was, as I say, Paddy McKeown, who was up in Larne. Eventually then I met a guy, George Holmes. It was Paddy sort of gave me the guitar guidance and put me on that way. But George Holmes was such a powerful voice, showed me how to project a song and how to put emotion into a song and try and get it over to mean something to someone. It's those two influences and the people that I play with today, great musicians. I have a very close group of friends, and I look to them. If I'm songwriting, they'll put wee licks in it or wee tunes or something in it, going that way.
So tell us about the songs that you're going to be singing for us today.
Well, the first song I'm going to be singing, it's about a guy called Tom McKinney. McKinneys were originally Mackenzies who came over from the Highlands and settled here and went into farming in Carnmoney. Tom was expected to continue in the father's line and take the farm, and actually went to study farming down in County Cavan when he was 21 years of age. When he came back home 2 years later, the war then started, so Tom signed up and went to war and went to France, where he was injured, taken to hospital, and obviously, like so many before him, just didn't make it home again. So that song for me, after doing a tour of Century Hill, is looking from the mother's side to think that this is what I'm thinking. I'm getting a letter from my son, and to tell the story for what are the thoughts of a mother of her son when he firstly goes out, and then eventually losing him at the end.
Was I wrong to think of you still as that child? Brought so much joy, caused me to smile. And I held in my arms a gentle embrace here in Century Hill this wonderful place. Though I've a tear for you, Tommy, in the dark of the night. Oh, I can but imagine from the letters you write all the horrors that faced young men sent to the fore, and those lives that are lost in the dastardly war. Tell me you think of me, say that you will remember Carnmoney and our own Sentry Hill. Oh, the news now from France is all the wounds you received, but when I read your words, I've hope to believe. For I feared if I lose you, my heart it would break. But this is the cost of the choices we make. Yet I think like you, son, and if you were here, I'd keep you from danger and I'd hide you from fear. So come back to Carnmoney, I wish you were home. Never again to feel lost or alone. Tell me you'll think of me, say that you will remember Carnmoney and our own Sentry Hill. Oh, my days they have darkened, my nights are so long, for I've received word that now you are gone. I find I can't sleep and I wish time away. I feel your pain, and I do every day. I'm not being foolish, but this is my right to grieve the loss of another young life. For our own Sentry Hill, it will not be the same. No more will these walls hear the call of your name. Tell me you think of me, say that you will remember Carnmoney and our own Sentry Hill.
So you were chatting about then connections with Scotland. So you must, do you have many connections then with Scotland?
We've been going over to Scotland now, I would think 20, 25 years. Right. Again, it was a few of the guys. You obviously meet different musicians from different places around the country, but he says, look, there's a folk festival on. I've never been to a folk festival. Took me over to Scotland one year, and we've been going twice a year ever since.
Yeah. How do you find the music travels then, even just across the Shuck?
Again, I mean, there's obviously that slight difference in the way the music is played in Scotland, especially. I wouldn't be so much into the traditional tunes over here, but being a songwriter and a singer, so I like that, that story side of thing. Over in Scotland, there's more of a drone to their songs. There's a lot of minors used in their music, but they're much like here. Folk are lovely over there, and they're they sing a song and you'll ask them about the song or where it came from, and can you have that? Certainly, there you are, I'll write that out for you, I'll send you that whenever.
They are, but you haven't just been travelling across to Scotland, you've been all around the globe with this, haven't you?
We've been to a few places. I have a friend down in Carrick called George McCulloch, and his wife, her grandfather was a guy from Lurgan called Davy Fisher, who was a painter on the Titanic, but her brother lives in South Africa as part of an Irish folk group that went out there in the early 70s and never come back again. Right. A couple of boys from Belfast and Randallstown. So I went out there for about 2.5 weeks and played in some fantastic places. But again, the music they had the African sort of music going when we're playing, and the similar songs are being sung out there.
Oh, right.
Because they have travelled there before with
Yeah.
the other people that has been there before.
Yeah.
So there's no problem people getting together, but the joining of those different sorts of music.
What is next in line for, what have you got on next?
Well, I think continued songwriting and,
Yeah.
you know, continued learning of the guitar, and just keep the music going and keep it alive and keep sharing it.
Excellent. So keep her lit, as they say. Aye.
Keep it lit. That's the
Keep her
way
lit.
forward.
So you're going to close it out here with another number then. So do you want to tell us about that?
The next number is a song called Painter Man, and this is a song about Davy Fisher leaving policing in the late 1800s, coming to Belfast and becoming a red-lead painter on all the White Star Line ships, the Titanic, the Olympic and the Britannic.
Well, Bud, thanks a million for joining us here. I'd have to say, I'm a huge fan now.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to have to check out a whole dose more now. Yeah. Aye. But thanks a million for joining us
I
here.
appreciate the time and for yourself and Amanda for
Thank you.
let me get my music across. Thank you.
My name was Davy Fisher, and I came from Lurgan town. It was my job to keep the law until the day I found short money brought me hardships, though I am fit and able. Find it hard to make ends meet, put food upon the table. So I left my work behind me, everything I owned, and I made my way to Belfast, Donegal Road, to set my home in Coffin Street in 1898. Then I called with Mr. Harlan, where I have the hands to paint. And I rode the tram with steelmen, welders, plumbers, and mates, side by side with all the lads that made the country great. They were cutting, sawing, welding, and aching through it all was the price of the shipyard life. Sure, it made a man stand tall. Singing, what's that you carry in your hands? Painter man, you're a painter man. Is that what your job is? Is that all you've got? Red lead in your pot. White men speak not out of turn, sure hard men never cry. It is the order, boys, sure it's how you live and die. But the red lead men are bottom rung, and they knew just where they stood. They gave it all for the working wage, and they did the best they could. And they painted on the Olympic, beloved first of class, and they painted on Titanic, the damned and arduous task, and they painted on Britannic, almost forget her name, and the red lead upon the keel, it is our claim to fame. But the paint that gave them beauty hides their coats of steel before they leave the dry dock and the slipway to the seas. But do not just remember me, for I am only one. Thousands made the sacrifice before their days were done. Singing, what's that you carry in your hands? Painter man, you're a painter man. Is that what your job is? Is not all you've got. Red lead in your pot.
We're here with Matt McIvor.
Hello.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing pretty well. Lovely to be here. Thanks for
good.
asking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So can I start by asking what got you into music and what got you into songwriting?
Sure. I grew up in a pretty musical household. My mum played guitar. She was an excellent person for harmony. And so we went to a church where, you know, there's a lot of singing. There was a lot of communal harmony going on. And so I just fell in love with that whole thing. My mum was kind of into like more folky kind of music, like Simon and Garfunkel and all that sort of stuff. Dad was kind of more Dire Straits and Phil Collins, and so I think I got a reasonable mixture of you know, both types of music from a young age.
And who would you say that your massive influences would be in music?
I am a massive fan of any singer-songwriter, but my favorite all time is an American guy called Peter Mulvey, who is from Massachusetts, and a lot of those sort of, you know, storytelling, percussive guitar styles, anything basically where there is a story, I'm absolutely drawn in.
Well, obviously, you have an admiration for the Ulster-Scots music scene, obviously, with the, you know, the religious music coming through there too.
Yeah.
How much does that influence your own playing then, do you think?
I mean, I think I probably borrow quite heavily guitar style and certainly songwriting style from those things. The thing that I really enjoy about a lot of the Ulster-Scots music that I know is humour. Nobody's taken anybody too seriously.
No.
And I think, you know, in this modern world, that's something that's vital.
So tell us, what's the title of your first song you're going to be performing for us?
Okay, I'm going to play a song called Start. I wrote it for a friend who was like having a really hard time, had started a new job and was just finding it really overwhelming. I was writing this song as an encouragement, first and foremost to that friend, to sort of say, look, it's okay, you need to get up one more time, but also, you know, the phone's never off. You can always call, and I think we don't do enough of that. You know, especially the men that I know don't express themselves very well. You know, we might jibe at each other and sort of make fun of each other, but but we rarely say, here, look, I'm struggling here. You wouldn't come and have a cup of tea with me, you know, and sort it out. And so that's what that song really is all about.
When your tires are flat, your journey's been long, your tank is empty and everything is wrong, but you can't stop driving, you're too far from home. Turn up the radio, sing along, 'cause even the saddest songs are an antidote. All the clever lines that you wish you wrote, let them hold you close. Sing them from your heart. Regain your resolve for another start. I'm gonna work as hard as I can for me. They think I'm good at this, I guess I'd better be. I'll hold a little bit back, but I want them to see what's inside this heart. You know that I believe that even the saddest songs are an antidote. All the clever lines that I wish I wrote, let them hold you close. Sing them from your heart. Regain your resolve for another start. You know it's not too late to have that talk. Call me anytime. We can go for a walk and I'll listen close. We don't have to agree, but you've got my arms. I know we both believe that even the saddest songs are an antidote. All the clever lines that we wish we wrote, let them hold you close. Sing them from your heart. Regain your resolve for another start.
But you've collaborated with a lot of artists over the years, and as you know, with all of these collaborations, your musical voice is bound to have changed through those times. How have you found that?
Well, it's interesting that, you know, maybe somebody will have a particular finger style guitar playing, or they just play chords in 7 different ways that you wouldn't think to.
Yeah.
You know, my songwriting partner in my side project, Fall Coffee Collective, is Sarah McCready, and she is an excellent rhythm guitar player and lead guitar player. And we went through the process of recording an album, her debut, last year, and you know, we're slightly different in ages, so I was introducing her to bands that I was really into in the 90s, and she was sort of bringing me up to date with things that I hadn't heard of. And those things are great, because you maybe get to the end of that process, and even you have a way of, this is the way I want to play this song, or this is the way I would like to record this song. And when you get to the end of that process, the other person has kind of changed your mind about that. You're like,
Yeah.
I like the way you do that a wee bit better. Let's have more of that.
There you go.
Yeah, you're a sound engineer and producer as well. That obviously is very time consuming and
Yeah.
takes a lot of mental energy as well. How do you find that impacts your songwriting, and does it leave you enough time that you would like to yourself to be creative?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I find that, yes, I do make myself very busy. I have a studio called Gatehouse Studio up in Castlereagh, where I record people and they maybe would come and practice their stuff. There is a lot of live sound. I work for the Belfast Giants as well, and I run their game night audio and production. I find that what happens now is I have so little time free that songs kind of build themselves up in the back of my mind, and in the 20 minutes that you're not actually doing something, you know, I maybe would be going to bed and sort of be like, maybe think about, hold on, I've got to write this song down. You know, and you know, songs tend to arrive in an explosion these days, rather than be something that I methodically sit down at 9 o'clock on a Monday morning and go, going to write a song now. It's a fun thing. I do find, though, while you're stressed out and running around, those songs are percolating, and then it's just, you do need to set aside time. But yeah, I probably need to set aside more.
So what's the future hold for yourself then? Any gigs coming up?
Well, no immediate gigs in the next coming months. But I've got an album that I'm preparing to hopefully have out January, February time.
Oh, great.
I've been working on that for about 4 years, but
Okay.
it's the joy of the engineer and the producer that whenever somebody else's songs come along, you tend to push yours to the side, and so I'm gonna have to be wild selfish for a while here and just get right in there.
Doesn't any harm, aye. That's it.
So tell us about the final song you're going to perform.
Okay, this last one's called Ribcage. It's the first song that I put out with my Fall Coffee Collective buddy, Sarah McCready. Sarah and I met during lockdown, and we started to write songs together. And it's basically just it's a state of the world, state of the union of your relationship with your partner kind of song. The first verse talks about how we can't really trust anything we hear, or maybe we don't know how to trust what we hear anymore. Who do we trust? And the point of that song was to say, whenever you don't know what's what, whenever you don't know what's true, you can always trust your friends. The people who love you carry you around in your heart.
Well, Matt, thanks a million for joining us here. And as I say, I'm a massive fan, so I can't wait to hear more music from you in the future. Aye. And thanks to you for tuning in and listening to Ulster Unplugged. And I'm dare say there'll be a pile more to enjoy for bye. Thanks a million.
Is it me, or are we not the same? Could it be we're shifting all the blame? Lies and fear fill up every screen. Nobody believes a word they read. Things get so hard these days. Believe me when I say that if you get lost sometimes, don't know where to rest, you find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my chest. If you get lost sometimes, don't know where to rest, you find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my chest. In your eyes, I can see a waywardness. Do you remember who we were when we used to be ourselves? Finding time amongst the craziness. Hold me close now, take me back to where we met. Things get so hard these days. I mean it when I say that if you get lost sometimes, don't know where to rest, you find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my chest. If you get lost sometimes, don't know where to rest, you'll find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my chest. Things get so hard these days, people only look the other way. I promise you that I'll stay. I mean it when I say that if you get lost, get lost sometime and don't know where to rest, you'll find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my chest. If you get lost sometime and don't know where to rest, you'll find yourself just under the ribcage, in the middle of my